First contact. The massive exploration vessel Horizon drifted silently through the inky blackness of space, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Inside the ship's expansive bridge, Captain Elena Reyes stood with her hands clasped behind her back, dark eyes fixed on the swirling blue and green orb that filled the main view screen. Approaching Kepler 452 bits, Captain, announced Lieutenant Sarah Chen from her station. We'll be entering orbit in approximately 10 minutes. Elena nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through her veins. After years of preparation and an 8-month journey, they were about to become the first humans to set foot on a potentially habitable exoplanet. The fate of humanity's expansion beyond Earth rested on their shoulders. All hands, prepare for orbital insertion, Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Dr. Patel, is your team ready for surface reconnaissance? Dr. Aisha Patel, the mission's lead xenobiologist, stepped forward. We're all set, Captain. Equipment's prepped and the team's eager to get started. As the Horizon settled into a stable orbit around Kepler 452 bits, Elena felt a sense of awe wash over her. The planet below was a vibrant tapestry of azure oceans and verdant continents, hauntingly similar to Earth yet undeniably alien. Wispy clouds swirled in its atmosphere, hinting at weather patterns both familiar and strange. Commence surface scans, Elena ordered. Let's see what we're dealing with down there. For the next several hours, the crew of the Horizon meticulously mapped and analyzed the planet's surface. They detected no signs of intelligent life or advanced civilization, but the scans revealed a thriving ecosystem teeming with plant and animal life. As the data poured in, Dr. Patel's eyes widened with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this," she said, gesturing to the console. "We're picking up some unusual energy readings from a location in the northern hemisphere. It doesn't match any natural phenomenon we're familiar with." Elena leaned in, studying the readouts. A faint but persistent energy signature pulsed from a point deep within a dense forest region. Could it be artificial? She asked, her mind racing with possibilities. Dr. Patel nodded slowly. It's possible. The signature is too regular to be naturally occurring. We may be looking at evidence of an ancient civilization, or something else entirely. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They had come seeking a new home for humanity, but they may have stumbled upon something far more profound, proof that they were not alone in the universe. Elena straightened, her decision made. "Prep a landing team, Dr. Patel. We're going to investigate this energy source ourselves." Within the hour, Elena found herself strapped into a sleek atmospheric shuttle alongside Dr. Patel and a small team of scientists and security personnel. As they descended through Kepler 452 bits' atmosphere, the anticipation was palpable. The shuttle touched down in a small clearing near the energy source. As the hatch opened, Elena took a deep breath, savoring her first taste of alien air. It was crisp and clean, with a faint metallic tang that tickled her nostrils. "Remember, we're here to observe and gather data," Elena reminded the team as they disembarked. "No unnecessary risks. Stay alert and report anything unusual immediately." They made their way through the alien forest, marveling at the strange flora that surrounded them. Towering trees with iridescent leaves stretched towards the sky, while bioluminescent fungi pulsed with soft, rhythmic light. In the distance, they could hear the calls of unseen creatures, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and low rumbles. As they neared the source of the energy readings, the forest began to change. The organic shapes of the alien plants gave way to angular, geometric patterns. Strange symbols, etched into stone and metal, lined their path. "This is definitely artificial," Dr. Patel murmured, running her hand along one of the inscribed pillars. "We're looking at the remnants of an advanced civilization. But how old is it? And where did they go?" Before anyone could respond, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. A low hum filled the air, growing steadily in intensity until it seemed to vibrate through their very bones. "Everyone fall back," Elena shouted, but it was too late. The earth split open before them, revealing a yawning chasm of pulsing energy and twisting metal. As the team scrambled for safety, Elena felt herself being pulled towards the abyss. She clawed desperately at the ground, but the force was too strong. Just as she was about to be swallowed by the strange vortex, a strong hand gripped her arm. Elena looked up to see Dr. Petal straining to hold on to her. "I've got you, Captain," Petal grunted, her face contorted with effort. With a final surge of strength, Dr. Patel pulled Elena to safety. As they collapsed on solid ground, the chasm sealed itself as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving no trace of its existence. Panting and shaken, Elena surveyed her team. Everyone was accounted for, though visibly rattled. "Is everyone all right?" she asked, her voice hoarse. Before anyone could answer, a piercing shriek split the air. The team whirled around to see a massive, insectoid creature emerge from the underbrush. Its carapace gleamed with an unnatural metallic sheen, and its multiple eyes glowed with an eerie intelligence. "Oh my God," Dr. Patel whispered, her face pale. "It's some kind of biomechanical hybrid." The creature regarded them for a moment, its antennae twitching as if analyzing their presence. Then, with frightening speed, it lunged towards the group. "Run," Elena shouted, drawing her sidearm. She fired off several shots, but the energy blasts seemed to dissipate harmlessly against the creature's armored hide. As they fled through the alien forest, more of the hybrid creatures appeared, emerging from hidden burrows and dropping from the canopy above. The team's desperate flight became a harrowing gauntlet, dodging snapping mandibles and razor-sharp claws at every turn. Elena's mind raced as she ran. These creatures were clearly the product of advanced technology, perhaps left behind by the same civilization that built the structures they'd encountered. But were they guardians, or had they turned on their creators? As they neared the clearing where they'd left the shuttle, Elena realized with horror that they were surrounded. The biomechanical insects had outflanked them, cutting off their escape route. Backed against the hull of the shuttle, the team formed a defensive circle. Elena knew their weapons were useless against the creature's armor, but she raised her sidearm anyway, determined to go down fighting. Just as all hope seemed lost, a blinding flash of light erupted from the shuttle. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and the hybrid creatures recoiled, their movements suddenly erratic and uncoordinated. Elena blinked in confusion, then noticed Dr. Patel standing by the shuttle's open hatch, a strange device in her hands. "Electromagnetic pulse," the scientist explained breathlessly. "I thought it might disrupt their cybernetic components. Looks like it worked." Taking advantage of the creature's disorientation, the team quickly boarded the shuttle. As they lifted off, Elena caught a final glimpse of the hybrid insects below, already beginning to recover from the EMP's effects. Back aboard the Horizon, Elena called an emergency meeting of the ship's senior staff. The implications of what they discovered were staggering and potentially terrifying. "Whatever civilization built those structures," Elena began, her voice grave, "they were far more advanced than us, and they left behind some very dangerous guardians." Dr. Petal nodded in agreement. "The level of biotechnology required to create those hybrid creatures is beyond anything we've even theorized. We're dealing with a species that can manipulate life itself at the molecular level." "The question is," Lieutenant Chen interjected, "are they still out there? And if so, what happens when they realize we've stumbled upon their outpost?" A heavy silence fell over the room as the weight of Chen's words sank in. They had come to Kepler 452 bits, seeking a new beginning for humanity. Instead, they may have inadvertently awakened a sleeping giant, one that could pose an existential threat not just to their mission, but to Earth itself. Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself for the difficult decisions that lay ahead. "We need to warn Earth," she said finally, "but we also need to learn more about what we're dealing with. The fate of our entire species may depend on what we do next." As the Horizon hung in orbit above the alien world, its crew grappled with the enormous responsibility that had been thrust upon them. They had sought to make history as the first humans to set foot on an exoplanet. Now, they found themselves on the front lines of humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization, and potentially its first interstellar war. The journey that had brought them to Kepler 452 bits had been one of hope and discovery. The journey ahead, Elena realized, would be one of survival and determination. As she gazed out at the beautiful yet deadly world below, she silently vowed to do whatever it took to protect her crew, her mission, and the future of humanity itself. Little did Elena know, the events set in motion on that fateful day would reshape the destiny of not just humanity, but of the entire galaxy. The ancient force they had awakened was stirring, and the stars themselves would soon bear witness to a conflict unlike any the universe had seen before. The swarm descends. The skies over New Shanghai blaze with an otherworldly light as the first wave of alien ships breached Earth's atmosphere. Their sleek, biomechanical forms pulsed with an eerie violet glow, casting long shadows over the sprawling megacity below. Air raid sirens wailed, their urgent cries mixing with the panicked screams of millions. In the heart of the Global Defense Command Center, nestled deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Zara Chen stood before a holographic display of Earth, watching in horror as red dots representing alien craft multiplied exponentially. "Status report," she barked, her steel-gray eyes never leaving the rapidly changing display. A young lieutenant, his face pale with shock, responded shakily. "The swarm, it's everywhere, ma'am. London, Lagos, Sydney, all reporting massive casualties. Our conventional weapons are barely scratching them." Zara clenched her fists, her mind racing. They had known this day might come ever since the Horizon's fateful discovery on Kepler 452 bits 2 years ago. But nothing could have prepared them for the sheer scale of the invasion. "What about Project Prometheus?" she asked, turning to Dr. Elias Reeves, the brilliant but eccentric head of Earth's Xenotech Research Division. Elias pushed his wild mop of grey hair back from his forehead, his eyes gleaming with a mix of excitement and fear. "It's ready in theory, but we've never tested it on this scale. The risks of not using it are far greater." Zara cut him off. "Initiate the protocol, now." As Elias hurried to comply, Zara's mind drifted to her daughter Elena. The captain of the Horizon had warned them of this threat, had given Earth precious time to prepare. But was it enough? High above the Earth, aboard the alien mothership, the being known as the Overmind observed the chaos below with cold satisfaction. Its consciousness, a vast network of billions of hybrid minds, pulsed with anticipation. For eons, it had slumbered, waiting for the day when a species would be foolish enough to awaken its sentinels. Now it would consume this new world, adding the humans' biological and technological distinctiveness to its own. But even as the Overmind reveled in its impending victory, a new sensation rippled through its collective consciousness. Confusion, pain, fear. Back on Earth, in labs and bunkers across the globe, humans were fighting back in ways the Overmind had never anticipated. In Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka activated a massive electromagnetic pulse, temporarily disabling a swarm of alien drones. The sky rained metal as the creatures plummeted to the ground, their cybernetic components fried. In Nairobi, Professor Kwesi Osai unleashed a swarm of nanobots he'd reverse-engineered from recovered alien tech. The microscopic machines swarmed over the invaders, disrupting their neural networks and turning them against each other. And in the skies over Rio de Janeiro, ace pilot Maya Souza led a squadron of experimental fighters, their hulls coated with a metamaterial that bent light around them, rendering them nearly invisible. They struck at the alien ships with surgical precision, exploiting weaknesses that conventional sensors had missed. As reports of these small victories trickled in, Zara allowed herself a grim smile. Humanity wasn't going down without a fight. But the tide truly began to turn when Dr. Reeves activated Project Prometheus. Across the globe, massive geothermal taps deep within the Earth's crust roared to life. They channeled the planet's own energy into a network of satellites, creating a shield of raw power that enveloped the entire world. The effect was immediate and devastating. Alien ships caught in the energy field exploded in spectacular fashion, their biomechanical components unable to withstand the onslaught of pure planetary energy. In orbit, Elena Reyes watched the unfolding battle from the bridge of the horizon. After 2 years of deep space exile, they had returned home, only to find it under siege. But as she witnessed humanity's desperate, ingenious defense, a fierce pride swelled in her chest. "Captain," her XO reported, with picking up a transmission from the alien mothership. It's asking for parley." Elena's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "Put it through," she ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a shifting, kaleidoscopic image that hurt her eyes to look at directly. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once, a chorus of billions. "You surprise us," the Overmind intoned. "No species has ever resisted us so effectively. Perhaps we have underestimated you." Elena stood tall, her voice steady as she addressed the cosmic horror before her. "We are humanity. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive nature. Did you really think we'd roll over for some overgrown insects?" A ripple of something almost like amusement passed through the Overmind's image. "You are young, but fierce. We offer you a choice. Join us, add your uniqueness to our own, or face annihilation." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Here's our counter-offer," she said, her voice cold as space itself. "Leave our solar system now, and we'll let you live. Stay, and we'll show you just how unique humanity can be." For a long moment, silence stretched between them. Then, with a sound like a billion voices sighing in unison, the Overmind spoke again. "We withdraw, for now. But know this, humans, the galaxy is vast, and full of terrors far beyond your comprehension. You have won a battle, but the war has only just begun." As the alien mothership retreated, dragging its battered swarm behind it, cheers erupted in command centers and bunkers across the globe. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and emerged bloodied but unbowed. But Elena Reyes, staring out at the star-studded void, felt only a growing sense of unease. The Overmind was right. This was only the beginning. And somewhere out there in the cosmic dark, greater challenges awaited. As Earth began the long process of rebuilding, a new era dawned. Humanity, once fractured and divided, now stood united against the threats that lurked among the stars, and in labs and shipyards across the globe, men and women worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. For they knew the truth that would define this new age. To survive in a hostile universe, humanity would need to become something more, something greater. The next chapter of human history was about to be written, in the vast, unforgiving arena of interstellar space, and this time they would be ready. Stellaris rising. The massive shipyard orbiting Mars hummed with frenetic activity, its sprawling structure a testament to humanity's newfound unity and purpose. At its heart, the culmination of Earth's hopes and dreams was taking shape. The UNSS Prometheus, humanity's first true interstellar warship. Captain Elena Reyes stood before the towering viewport, her reflection ghostly against the backdrop of stars and construction drones. 5 years had passed since the swarm's invasion, years filled with furious preparation and technological leaps that would have once seemed impossible. "Impressive, isn't she?" a familiar voice said behind her. Elena turned to see Dr. Elias Reeves, his wild hair now streaked with more gray than before, but his eyes still twinkling with the same manic energy. "That she is," Elena agreed, allowing herself a small smile. "But will she be enough?" Elias chuckled, the sound tinged with both excitement and nerves. "Oh, she's more than just a ship, Captain. She's our Trojan horse, our cosmic calling card, and possibly our species' only hope for survival all rolled into one. As they spoke, a team of technicians swarmed over the Prometheus's hull, applying the final layers of metamaterials that would allow the ship to bend light around itself, rendering it nearly invisible to both conventional and alien sensors. The quantum fold drive is online and stable, Elias continued, his words tumbling out in a rush of pride and anxiety. It'll allow us to create localized wormholes, jumping vast distances in the blink of an eye. And the biomimetic AI? It's learning, evolving. By the time we reach the swarm's home system, it'll be able to predict their tactics before they even think of them. Elena nodded, her expression grim. The plan was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. But after barely surviving the swarm's initial assault, humanity had realized a harsh truth. The best defense was an overwhelming offense. "And the package?" she asked quietly, her eyes darting to ensure they weren't overheard. Elias's expression sobered immediately. "Secured in the heart of the ship. One way or another, Captain, this mission will end the swarm threat permanently." As they spoke, alarms began to blare throughout the shipyard. Elena's comm unit crackled to life, the voice of her XO, Commander Akira Tanaka, cutting through the noise. "Captain, we're detecting multiple fold space ruptures at the edge of the system. It's them. They're back." Elena's blood ran cold. "But we're not ready," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Then, squaring her shoulders, she barked out orders. "All hands to battle stations. Initiate Operation Ragnarok. We launch now." What followed was a blur of organized chaos. As the skies above Earth once again filled with the biomechanical horrors of the swarm, the Prometheus broke free of its moorings, its experimental engines flaring to life with a fury that rivaled the stars themselves. "Full drive spinning up," Akira reported, his fingers dancing over the helm controls. But Captain was still missing key systems. "The weapons grid is only at 60% capacity and the shields." "We don't have a choice," Elena cut him off, strapping herself into the command chair. "Earth can't survive another full-scale invasion. We have to take the fight to them, ready or not." As the Prometheus streaked towards the oncoming swarm armada, Elena felt a moment of déjà vu. Once again, humanity's fate rested on her shoulders. But this time, they weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for the right to claim their place among the stars. "All hands," she announced, her voice carrying throughout the ship. "This is not a battle for Earth. This is a battle for the future of our species. Win or lose, what we do here will echo through eternity." With a silent prayer to whatever cosmic forces might be listening, Elena gave the order. "Initiate quantum fold. Take us into the heart of the enemy." The universe seemed to hiccup, reality itself bending around the Prometheus. In a heartbeat, they were gone, leaving behind a stunned swarm fleet and a planet holding its collective breath. When they emerged from the fold, the scene before them was beyond comprehension. The swarm's home system was a vast, living machine, entire planets transformed into biomechanical hives that pulsed with malevolent energy. At the center of it all hung a construct that defied description, the physical manifestation of the Overmind, a being of such cosmic horror that several crew members fell to their knees, their minds unable to process what they were seeing. But Elena stood firm, her voice steady as she issued commands. "Launch the near-me-sized probes. Let's show these overgrown bugs what happens when you push humanity too far." From the Prometheus's launch bays, a swarm of their own erupted, countless tiny drones, each carrying a payload of nanites specifically engineered to target the swarm's unique biology. As the battle raged around them, the ship's AI worked furiously, predicting and countering the swarm's every move. Elena watched in awe as the Prometheus danced through the enemy fleet, its advanced weapons tearing through their bioships like tissue paper. But the true turning point came when the Neonesi's probes reached their targets. All across the system, swarm constructs began to falter and die, the nanites rewriting their very genetic code and turning them against each other. The Overmind's psychic scream of rage and pain echoed through the minds of every being in the system, but Elena stood unbowed, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. "This is humanity's verdict," she declared, her words broadcast on all frequencies. "You came to our world uninvited, threatened our very existence. Now feel a full measure of our wrath." With a final cataclysmic surge of power, the Prometheus unleashed its ultimate weapon, a gravity bomb that created a localized singularity in the heart of the Overmind itself. As the eldritch abomination was torn apart by forces beyond comprehension, Elena felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The threat that had haunted humanity for years was finally irrevocably destroyed. But as the dust settled and the enormity of their victory sank in, Elena realized that this was not an end, but a beginning. They had proven themselves on a galactic stage, demonstrated that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, and in doing so, they had undoubtedly drawn the attention of other cosmic powers, both benevolent and malevolent. As the Prometheus prepared for the long journey home, Elena gazed out at the star-studded void with new eyes. The universe was vast, filled with wonders and terrors beyond imagination. But humanity had taken its first, decisive step into that great unknown. Whatever challenges awaited them in the cosmic arena, Elena knew one thing for certain: humanity would face them head-on, with the same indomitable spirit that had carried them to the stars. The age of Earth was over. The age of Stellaris had begun. Cosmic crucible. The grand chamber of the galactic conclave buzzed with an electric tension, its vaulted ceiling alive with holographic displays of countless star systems. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shifted uneasily in their seats, their avian features contorted with a mix of fear, curiosity, and barely concealed hostility. At the center of it all stood Elena Reyes, her weathered captain's uniform a stark contrast to the ornate robes and bio-augmented forms surrounding her. She stood tall, unflinching under the collective gaze of the assembled cosmic powers. "Humans," the Arbiter's voice boomed, its crystalline form pulsing with each syllable. "You stand accused of violating the ancient accords, of destroying a sentient species, of wielding weapons of mass destruction on a galactic scale. How do you plead?" Elena's eyes narrowed, her voice steady as she addressed the assembly. "We plead survival," she declared. "The swarm invaded our world, threatened our very existence. We did what we had to do." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Vexillar ambassador, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid exosuit, floated forward. "Your actions have upset the delicate balance of power in this sector," it hissed. "The void left by the swarm's destruction has created a power vacuum that threatens us all." "Then perhaps," Elena countered, her tone sharp, "it's time for a new balance. One that includes humanity as equals, not as prey to be harvested or pawns to be manipulated." The chamber erupted in chaos, various factions arguing amongst themselves. But before the Arbiter could call for order, alarms blared throughout the station. The holographic displays flickered, showing a massive fleet emerging from fold space. "Impossible," the Arbiter whispered, its crystalline form dimming in shock. The main screen flared to life, revealing a face that sent a chill down Elena's spine. It was her own face, yet not. Older, harder, with cybernetic implants snaking across the skin. "Greetings, esteemed members of the conclave," the other Elena sneered, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "I am Admiral Elena Reyes of the Terran Imperium. We've come to claim our rightful place in the galaxy." Elena's mind reeled. Temporal incursion, she breathed, realizing the implications. This was humanity from an alternate future, one where they had embraced a darker path. The Arbiter turned to Elena, its voice trembling. "What have you done?" "This isn't us," Elena insisted, her eyes never leaving the screen. "But it could be, if we're not given a chance to forge our own destiny." As the Imperium fleet opened fire on the conclave station, chaos erupted. In the ensuing panic, Elena made a split-second decision that would alter the course of galactic history. To all ships in range, she broadcast on an open channel. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of Earth. We face a threat beyond any single species. I propose an alliance, here and now, to defend not just our individual worlds, but the very fabric of Spacetine itself." For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, one by one, ships from a dozen different species fell into formation alongside the human vessels. What followed was a battle that would be sung about in 1,000 languages across 1,000,000 worlds for eons to come. The combined fleet, hastily assembled but united in purpose, clashed with the technologically superior Imperium forces in a furious dance of energy weapons and exotic particles. Elena found herself at the helm of the Conclave's flagship, coordinating the Allied forces with a skill that surprised even her. She watched in awe as Vexillor energy beings merged with Zorlaf living ships, their combined power overwhelming Imperium cruisers. Human ingenuity melded with Korathi's psychic abilities, predicting and countering the enemy's every move. But the tide truly turned when Elena faced her darker self in ship-to-ship combat. As their vessels spiraled around each other, weapons blazing, Elena realized the key to victory lay not in superior firepower, but in the very thing that set her apart from her counterpart: hope. "You think you're the inevitable future," Elena transmitted to her doppelganger. "But you're just a cautionary tale. We've seen what becomes of us if we walk your path and we reject it. Here and now, we choose a different way." With those words, Elena initiated the Prometheus Protocol, a desperate gambit that overloaded her ship's fold drive, creating a localized time loop that trapped the Imperium fleet in an endless moment. As the last echoes of battle faded, Elena found herself once again before the galactic conclave. But this time, the atmosphere was different. Representatives from a dozen species stepped forward, voices raised not in accusation, but in support of humanity's right to join their ranks. The Arbiter's form glowed brightly as it addressed the assembly. "We have witnessed something unprecedented today. In the face of cosmic horror and temporal paradox, species that have warred for millennia stood together. Perhaps it is time for a new era of galactic cooperation." Elena felt the weight of history on her shoulders as she spoke. "We come before you not as conquerors, but as explorers. Not as a threat, but as partners. Humanity has taken its first steps into a larger universe, and we have much to learn, but we also have much to offer." As murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber, Elena allowed herself a small smile. They had faced the darkness, both from without and within, and emerged stronger for it. The road ahead would not be easy, but for the first time, humanity would not walk it alone. The age of isolation was over. The age of galactic community had begun, and Elena Reyes, once a simple starship captain, now found herself the architect of a new cosmic order, one built on cooperation, understanding, and the indomitable spirit of not just humanity, but all sentient life. As the conclave session adjourned, Elena gazed out at the star-filled expanse beyond the station's windows. The universe, vast and mysterious, stretched out before her, full of wonders to explore, challenges to overcome, and allies to stand beside. The next chapter of cosmic history was about to be written, and humanity would play a central role in shaping it. Whatever the future held, Elena knew one thing for certain: it would be an adventure unlike any other. Nexus of Eternity. The quantum core of the celestial nexus pulsed with ethereal energy, its crystalline structure defying the laws of known physics. Captain Elena Reyes stood at its heart, her form wavering between corporeal and incorporeal as the fabric of reality itself bent around her. "Are you certain about this, Elena?" The voice of Dr. Elias Reeves crackled through her neural link, tinged with both awe and apprehension. "Once you activate the nexus, there's no going back. The very nature of existence as we know it could be altered forever." Elena's lips curled into a wry smile. "When has humanity ever shied away from pushing boundaries, old friend? Besides, we're out of options. The entropy wave is coming, and if we don't act now, everything we fought for will be reduced to cosmic dust. It had been a decade since humanity's induction into the galactic conclave, years filled with unprecedented growth and discovery. But with their expanded cosmic awareness came the realization of a threat beyond imagination, the entropy wave, a fundamental breakdown of reality itself, spreading across the universe like a cancer. Now, deep within the artificial planetoid that housed the celestial nexus, representatives from every known sentient species worked feverishly alongside humans, pouring their collective knowledge into this last, desperate gambit. Initiating final sequence, Elena announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the massive structure. All personnel, prepare for temporal divergence. As her hands danced over holographic controls, the quantum core's pulsations intensified. Streams of exotic particles swirled around Elena, each one containing the distilled essence of a different reality, echoes of what might have been, or what could yet be. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the complex, entropy wave approaching. A panicked voice shouted over the comms. Estimated time to impact, 60 seconds. Elena's jaw clenched. It was now or never. With a deep breath, she plunged her hands directly into the quantum stream, feeling reality itself flow through her fingers. "Let's rewrite the stars," she whispered. The universe held its breath for one infinite moment. Then, with a soundless explosion that rippled across time and space, the celestial nexus activated. Elena's consciousness expanded, merging with the very fabric of the cosmos. She saw the birth and death of galaxies in the blink of an eye, witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations across countless worlds. The entirety of existence became a tapestry, and she held the threads in her hands. As the entropy wave crashed against the barrier created by the nexus, Elena began to weave. She drew upon the collective knowledge and experiences of every species, every timeline, every possible iteration of reality. With each metaphysical stitch, she reinforced the fundamental laws of the universe, closing the cracks that had allowed entropy to seep in. But it wasn't enough. The wave pushed back, threatening to overwhelm even the godlike power of the nexus. Elena felt her grip on reality slipping, her very essence beginning to unravel. In that moment of desperation, she reached out across the cosmic tapestry and felt countless minds reaching back. Every sentient being, past and present, lent their strength to her. Their hopes, dreams, and indomitable will to exist flowed through Elena, empowering her beyond anything she had thought possible. With a final, reality-shaking effort, Elena completed the weave. The entropy wave crashed against it and dissipated, its destructive power absorbed and transformed into pure creative energy. As the light of a reborn universe washed over her, Elena felt herself being pulled back into corporeal form. She collapsed onto the floor of the Nexus control room, gasping for breath. Elena, can you hear me?" Dr. Ree's voice seemed to come from very far away. "My God, you did it. You actually did it." Slowly, Elena opened her eyes, blinking against the harsh light of the quantum core. But something was different. The very air seemed charged with possibility, colors more vivid than she had ever seen before. As she struggled to her feet, assisted by Reeves and other concerned crew members, Elena's gaze was drawn to the massive viewscreen dominating one wall of the control room. What she saw took her breath away. The universe outside had changed. Stars burned brighter, galaxies swirled with new purpose, and woven throughout it all was a shimmering network of energy, the cosmic tapestry made manifest. What have we done?" Elena whispered, awe and trepidation warring in her voice. A new voice answered, one that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "You have ascended," it said, its tone both ancient and newborn. "Humanity, and all sentient life, has taken the next step in cosmic evolution." Before their astonished eyes, a figure coalesced in the center of the room. It was humanoid in shape, but composed of pure energy, with stars swirling in the depths of its eyes. What are you? Elena asked, finding her voice. The being's lips curled into a smile that contained the wisdom of eons. I am the universe made conscious, it replied. And you, Elena Reyes, are my creator. Or perhaps it's more accurate to say, you are the midwife who helped birth this new reality. As the implications sank in, Elena felt a weight settle onto her shoulders, the weight of unimaginable responsibility. They had not just saved the universe, they had fundamentally altered the nature of existence itself. What happens now? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The cosmic being's smile widened. Now the true adventure begins. You have unlocked the next stage of evolution for all sentient life. The barriers between thought and reality, between the physical and the metaphysical, have been forever blurred. Every species now has the potential to shape the cosmos itself. Elena's mind reeled at the possibilities and the potential dangers of such power. But how do we ensure this power isn't abused? How do we prevent chaos? That, the being said, placing a starry hand on Elena's shoulder, is the great task that lies before you. Humanity, with its unique blend of ingenuity, compassion, and indomitable spirit, must become the guardians of this new cosmic order. You will teach, guide, and when necessary, restrain those who are not ready for such responsibility. As the weight of this new mission settled upon her, Elena felt a familiar fire ignite in her chest. This was why humanity had struggled, had fought, had nearly been wiped out, only to rise again stronger than ever. They had been forged in the crucible of cosmic challenges to become something greater, custodians of a living, conscious universe. We accept, Elena declared, her voice ringing with determination. Whatever challenges lie ahead, humanity will face them. We will learn, we will grow, and we will ensure that this gift is used to benefit all of creation. The cosmic being nodded, its form already beginning to fade. The nexus of eternity is in your hands now, Elena Reyes. Use it wisely, for the fate of all reality rests upon the choices you and your kind will make. As the being disappeared, leaving behind a room filled with stunned but inspired individuals from a dozen species, Elena turned to face her crew. In their eyes, she saw the same mix of awe, determination, and hope that she felt in her own heart. Well, she said, a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth, it looks like our mission just got a lot more interesting. Who's ready to shape the destiny of the cosmos? A cheer went up, echoing through the halls of the celestial nexus and resonating across the newly awakened universe. The age of cosmic guardianship had begun, with humanity at its helm. As Elena gazed out at the shimmering tapestry of creation, she knew that the greatest adventure of all was just beginning. The stars themselves seemed to twinkle with anticipation, eager to see what this young species, tempered by adversity and driven by an unquenchable spirit of exploration, would do next. The universe was no longer a vast, uncaring void. It was alive, aware, and waiting to be shaped by the dreams and determination of those who called it home. And humanity, once a tiny spark of consciousness on the insignificant blue planet, now stood ready to fan that spark into a flame that would illuminate the cosmos for eternity.